All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're doing something pretty incredible. We are going to distill 13 perfectly chosen transformative books into one single, cohesive blueprint for building a $100 million business empire. So welcome. If you're a focused learner looking to seriously level up your game, you are in exactly the right place. Oh, and before we get moving, make sure you subscribe and follow Prime Access Technologies for more incredibly actionable insights just like this one. You see, today we aren't just looking at a random reading list. We're looking at a life stage architecture. We're going to take the absolute best wisdom from some of the greatest business minds ever and map it directly onto your personal entrepreneurial journey.
Here is the agenda for our life stage architecture today. First up, the money mindset. Second, mastering extreme productivity. Third, the top 1% entrepreneur. And finally, protecting your wealth. So we're going to follow this chronological lifespan, starting right at the base of the pyramid in your early 20s to build that rock-solid foundation, and scaling all the way up to securing your legacy in your late 30s and beyond. Now, keep in mind, these age brackets, they're really just a general guide, because honestly, whether you're 22 or 42, if you haven't mastered the skills in phase 1, you absolutely need to start there before moving on. It is all about the sequence of execution here.
Okay, phase 1, the money mindset. Reprogramming your base, typically happening between ages 20 and 25.
Look, you simply can't build a skyscraper on a swamp, right? And you definitely can't build a massive empire on a faulty relationship with money. Books like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich teach you the absolute baseline of dreaming big and actually programming your subconscious for success. And then Morgan Housel steps in to help you build real self-awareness around your financial decisions. He shows you that building wealth is so much more about your psychology and your consistent, smart choices than it is about taking massive, flashy risks. To really illustrate just how powerful this reprogramming is, T. Harv Eker actually shares how shifting his own mindset led to this life-changing 3-year journey of traveling the world and learning the true business mindset. Because let's face it, most of us inherit totally broken rules and philosophies about money from our parents or just our general upbringing. Eker's book is quite literally the ultimate tool for identifying those limiting beliefs, completely breaking them down, and rewriting your internal money stories with habits that actually attract wealth. It is a complete mindset overhaul. And this brilliantly captures a core concept from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's simple. If you don't learn the fundamental difference between an asset and a liability, and if you don't shift to an investor mindset, you're only ever going to be a high-paid employee. You really have to understand that true wealth is built when your money works for you, instead of you constantly trading your precious time for money. It's basically the definitive guide to avoiding really dumb financial risks when you're young and hungry. Moving right along to phase 2, mastering extreme productivity, buying back your time from ages 20 to 30. Once your foundation is poured and set, your operational capacity absolutely has to shift. This is where you learn to actually get things done. Dan Martell's philosophy provides this massive paradigm shift here. Get this. You don't hire people to grow your business, because doing that just builds a prison. You hire people to buy back your time to gain freedom. When your business starts taking off in your 20s, the biggest bottleneck quickly becomes your own capacity. You just have to learn the value of your time, master the art of delegation, and intentionally build a business that you don't grow to absolutely hate. You build on that freedom by adopting the getting things done methodology. David Allen's system proves something crucial. Your mind is for having ideas, not holding them. As an entrepreneur, you're dealing with massive information overload every single day. The secret? Getting those ideas out of your brain, dumping them into a trusted system, and then, this is key, specifically scheduling the time to process them. This is exactly how top CEOs operate at a high level without burning out. And James Clear's Atomic Habits really anchors this entire phase with a harsh but simple truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. By creating daily, totally non-negotiable systems, you can actually win by default rather than just relying on sheer hard work. High standards make success inevitable. Think about it. If you rely purely on motivation and raw effort, you're going to crash eventually. But if you carefully connect new habits to existing ones and build rock-solid systems, you literally put your success on autopilot. Remember this: simple scales and complex fails. That's exactly why big businesses prioritize ruthlessly by building the muscle of focusing on just one course of action, which is the core tenet of the book, The One Thing.
When you've got multiple opportunities presenting themselves, which happens constantly in this phase of life, distraction becomes your absolute biggest enemy. You have to build the iron discipline to start small, prioritize ruthlessly, and stick to one single path until you actually see it through to success. So, the crucial point here is to actively ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do, such by doing it, that everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Gary Keller's focusing question is honestly like a superpower for prioritization. If you ask yourself this every single day, it completely cuts through the noise and ensures that your energy is always directed at the absolute highest leverage task sitting on your desk. All right, into phase 3, the top 1% entrepreneur, scaling the empire spanning ages 25 to 35.
When you finally start scaling your business for real, you need operating systems that put you in the top 1% of entrepreneurs. You're no longer just a hustler at this point. You are an architect. Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited is the absolute original gold standard guide for making that terrifying leap from being self-employed to actually being a true business owner. And how do you do this? By using documentation to build systems, creating what he calls a franchise prototype, so the business can run flawlessly whether you're sitting in the office or kicking back on a beach. Taking a page from Silicon Valley's Bible, 0 to 1, we learn to create a completely new market, a blue ocean, and build a massive protective moat by focusing on the product itself, rather than relying on aggressive salespeople. Peter Thiel argues that if your product requires massive advertising or pushy salespeople just to move it, well, the product simply isn't good enough yet. You want to innovate to the point where you have such a clear competitive advantage that you make the competition completely irrelevant. Now, here's a truly fascinating takeaway from Gino Wickman's Traction, the rule of 7. Did you know that people literally need to hear your company's vision 7 times before they actually internalize it for the first time? It's wild. Wickman's EOS system is all about cutting away the fat of complex management. It creates a beautifully simple, approachable system for accountability. But a massive part of that is clarity. You have got to get everybody pulling on the rope in the exact same direction, and that requires relentless, repeated communication of your core vision. And hey, forget the ping pong tables and free office snacks, okay? Good to Great teaches us that level 5 leaders build a world-class culture based purely on what employees do when no one is in the room. Jim Collins explains that truly great leaders have this paradoxical mix of fierce, unwavering determination and deep personal humility. They focus on getting the right people on the bus first, and then they obsess over culture. Real culture isn't free dry cleaning. It is the unwritten rules of behavior that dictate exactly how your team operates under pressure when the boss is miles away. Which brings us to phase 4, protecting your wealth, securing your legacy from ages 35 to 40 and beyond. You've built the moat, you've scaled the empire, but what actually happens when you finally amass a net worth of over $1 million? The climax of our entrepreneurial blueprint requires shifting our focus entirely. We have to pivot toward protecting what we've built and ensuring it actually serves a greater purpose. Because let me tell you, so many entrepreneurs grind for decades to build wealth only to lose it all simply because they don't know how to handle it once they actually have it.
This is where the concepts from Entrusted come into play. It shows that true legacy is all about deploying your wealth to support your team and your family, ensuring it lasts long after your time on Earth is done. The authors have spent tens of thousands of hours helping wealthy families not lose their fortunes. It's all about creating highly structured systems for family legacy and understanding that the ultimate goal of wealth isn't just hoarding it like a dragon, but utilizing it to have a profound, lasting impact on your community and the people you love.
Ultimately, if you have all these nice things and you refuse to share them with other people to make a real impact, well, you're just kind of a ding-dong. The greatest joy of true financial freedom is the ability to elevate those around you. Wealth is an amplifier. And at this stage of the journey, your focus should be entirely on how your resources can build up your team, support your family's future generations, and leave a lasting, incredibly positive mark on the world. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Which of these 13 books will you not just read, but actively study and implement today? Remember, it seriously doesn't matter how much content you consume or how many impressive books you stack on your shelf if you never actually take action. Pick the book that corresponds to the exact phase you're in right now, default to doing something, and start building your empire. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and hey, don't forget to subscribe and follow Primax's Technologies for more actionable deep dives. Keep learning, keep building, and I will see you in the next explainer.